I would say V is a mystery action drama which tries to blend neon war, film war conventions with my favorite Hindi masala dramas. I would call that, yeah. If you ask me to define, yeah, because when I called him and said, "Hey, this thing, I think you should you listen to it and tell me." Then he heard it. It's a bizarre narration also because he just broke his nose in the shooting of Jersey, and he was bleeding literally. He was holding his nose like this and listening to the story. And I was telling him about how he's killing people, as a psychopath. And at the end of it, he said, "So what do you want me to do, sir? Which role do you want me to play?" I said, "I think you should play the bad guy." He said, "That's what I want to do." And I said, "But this is your 25th film. Are you okay?" He said, It's okay, sir. This is what I want."
Hi, this is Melanie of Pardesi Reviews. This is the last of my 4-part series of my interview with director of Telugu films, Mohan Krishna Indraganti. In this video, we will talk about the upcoming film V, which he describes as a noir action thriller starring Nani and Sudheer. In part 1, we talked about his national award-winning film Grahanam. Part 2 was a discussion of Nani's debut film with him, Ashtachama. And part 3 was a discussion of 2 films, Gentleman, his second film with Nani, and the romantic drama Samahanam.
What can you tell us about V? Because I now there is a quote that was on the very first poster. "At this hour lie at my mercy all mine enemies," which is from The Tempest by William Shakespeare, a line by Prospero. I will admit that I have not seen The Tempest on stage, so I'm not super familiar with all of it, but I'm curious what kind of hints.
it's just the drama of it that I saw a version of Tempest made by Julie Timor, in which Prospero was played by a woman.
Yes.
Helen Mirren.
Helen Mirren, yes.
She's my favorite actress. And the way she said that line, when I heard her say that, I said, this should be the caption for my film. I think you should go back and see the way it's incredibly menacing, the way she said that. And of course, when you see the movie, the line belongs to Nani in the film, and why that belongs to him, I think you can only see it when you see the film. But as far as the genre is concerned, I'm calling it MAD, which is mystery action drama.
Okay.
So when people are asking me, I say it's a mad film. So it's basically it has a certain. I've always been inspired by the French film noir and of course the works of David Fincher in Hollywood, and the cinematography of Gordon Willis, Godfather, and all those films.
Yeah.
And of course Jean-Pierre Melville in the French New Wave, film noir films. I always wanted to make a film which blends this visual style, with a certain kind of masala aesthetic I liked about Hindi films of the 70s. You have these punchlines and you have this conflict between 2 characters. You have conflict between systems, a psychopath fighting the cop, and then they have all these exchanges about how you failed me, the system is failing, the system is crumbling, and then lace it with emotion, a personal drama. So I thought, I always wanted to do it just because I'm not a big fan of all the movies of the 70s of Hindi cinema, but there are 1 or 2 like Diwar and Trishul by Amitabh, where Amitabh was like oozing magnetism. So I always wanted to make something like that, blend these 2 genres and create something that's energetic, that is visually visceral, musically very high octane. It has good action pieces, which is a blend of stylization and realism, and have these really crackling dialogue, and this story was written, believe it or not, after I wanted to make this right after Grahanam. This was written in
So you've been percolating with this for all these years. Wow.
Yeah, 2006. This was written in 2006. This story right after Grahanam, because if you see Grahanam, it has the dark, look. So I wanted to make a similar film which is about this, but then I didn't have the money, and nobody was willing to back in because it was too expensive. Too many. It happens at too many places, too many locations. Too much equipment is needed, and we needed stars, good stars who could carry it. So I just put it aside, and it went on and on. When in 2018, when Dil Raju asked me, what do you have? He liked two films of mine, my producer. He liked Ashtachama, he liked Gentleman. He said, either of these genres is okay with me. I said, I'll go with the thriller, but it's like way above, much two steps more than Gentleman. It's a little darker. It's grittier, but of course it's also high energy. So would you be interested in this? He was game. He said, yeah. Then I wrote, after writing it, I thought it is. I didn't know. I forgot that it's Nani's 25th film actually. So I was not sure if I should pitch it to him, because then I called him and said, "Hey, this thing. I think you should you listen to it and tell me." Then he heard it. It's a bizarre narration also, because he just broke his nose in the shooting of Jersey, and he was bleeding literally. He was holding his nose like this and listening to the story. And I was telling him about how he's killing people, as a psychopath. And at the end of it, he said, "So what do you want me to do, sir? Which role do you want me to play?" I said, "I think you should play the bad guy." He said, "That's what I want to do." And I said, "But this is your 25th film. Are you okay?" He said, "It's okay, sir. This is what I want to do." And that's how it happened. And then finding the cop became very difficult for me, because whoever heard the story was in love with Nani's role to start with. And then, of course, the cop's actor is a much more nuanced role, actually. I think people will see that when they see it, So when they watch the film, so I narrated to a bunch of people, and they were having issues with it. And then I went back to Sudheer. I said, "Why am I not considering Sudheer? Because he was so good in Sammohanam, and he's so versatile. He's so disciplined. He underplays." So I said, then I asked him. I pitched it to him, and I told him, "This is Nani. Nani's already doing that role." And he said, "Sir, even if you had given me the choice, I would have chosen the cop." So he was on right away, and he did a fantastic job. Both of them. These two belong to two different schools of acting. Nani's flamboyant. Nani's sometimes stylized, and
Yeah.
he's very audience. He connects with the audience.
Yes.
Very quickly.
Yes, he does.
Sudhir is very method. He's into the part. He's into the character. He draws clear picture of how he should play this man. He's worried about the backstory. He's worried about the social upbringing of that particular character. He would study all that, and he would just come with as realistic an approach as possible to the character. So it's wonderful for me to work with these two actors coming from completely different ends of the spectrum, and trying to not imitate each other, and trying not to influence each other, and stay in their own zones and still deliver really good. So I would say V is a mystery action drama which tries to blend neon war, film war conventions with my favorite Hindi masala dramas. I would call that, yeah. If you ask me to define, yeah.
So basically, completely my cup of tea, and I'm gonna.
Yes, it's a
Can you
popcorn
tell-
movie.
can-
Trust me, yeah, solid popcorn film. Yeah.
Can you tell anything about the women characters? Because Aditi had a very brief in the teaser, but I think I missed seeing her in the full trailer that came out last week. And I don't know if you can reveal anything about their characters.
Aditi, I'm getting solidly abused by fans online for not showing her in the teaser and the trailer, but she has a huge fan base online. I mean, she's like worshipped by people on Instagram, literally. So, but yeah, there is a reason why we are not revealing her. I would say this film, of all my films, is slightly more male film. It deals with more with men, but both the women are extremely central to the plot, and they actually determine the plot structure in a very interesting way. Although they don't have the screen time of the male characters, and Aditi's I cannot reveal, because why I'm not when you see the film. But Nivetha is also one thing I always did not want my heroines to be is an eye candy. They don't want to be. I don't want them to be cute and seductive, sexy, and whatever. These people who keep popping in and out, saying dumb lines, and always trying to looking up to the hero and worshipping the hero and saying, "When will you marry me?" Actually, there are some jokes about it in the film also. Nivetha's jokes about why she's not the regular type of girl. Actually, I can tell you that she says at one line that I can't sleep unless I see blood once a day. That's what she says at one point. So she's a weirdo. I wanted somebody like that to play the role. So So yeah, they are Nivetha plays a very important role, and narratively, in terms of the structure of the film, Nivetha's character makes great sense when you come to the end of the film. Why what we set up with her completely gets completed when you come at the end of the film. And of course, and there is a palpable link between hers and Aditi's character, which gets evident, which becomes evident when you come to the end of the film.
So I saw in the full trailer there was an island or something. So what was their locations? I think Thailand. Was that where you did some
Yeah,
location shooting?
it was shot in Thailand. We shot in, we call it 5 states in one country. We shot in 5 different states in India. We shot in Andhra, Telangana. We shot in Bombay. There's Maharashtra. We shot in Goa. Then we shot in Himachal Pradesh, Manali, and then we shot in Thailand. So the climax happens in Thailand, which is a major showdown between the two main characters. So that happens in Thailand. So that's one of the biggest pieces in the film for me. Yeah.
So I'm really excited about this film just because you've put all of these powerhouse actors all together in this film. It's just really exciting. So tell me, this film was supposed to come out, I believe, in the spring. So
Yes.
what led you to decide, okay, we're not going to wait anymore. We're gonna go with a streaming partner right for the
The
premiere.
main reason is the excitement. We didn't want to kill the excitement because we were loving the film. When I saw the film, it was really good, and there was no date, there was no time given by anybody about when the theaters might open again, when
Right.
theaters might and even if they do, we didn't know how many people would actually venture out and come to theaters, because we were told by the government that even if we do open, there'll be a 30% occupancy. There'll only be 50% occupancy. Permissions won't be given for 100% occupants, and we couldn't afford to have that kind of an opening. And we also didn't want to be apologetic about, oh, we are coming to streaming because we couldn't wait. We realized that this film will also work with a wider audience. We also realized that with streaming, I, as a filmmaker, will be able to reach a much, much, much broader audience all over the world. Number one. Number two, it's a genre that most audiences will be familiar with all over the world, and they can probably see how the Indian movie sensibility tweaks it, to kind of makes it an interesting blend. And we also realize that given the scenario, all the OTT films, what we call OTT or the OTT platforms, all the OTT films were like kind of tailor-made for OTT. They were aiming at a certain section of the audience, whereas this film is the first larger than life film that's going to come on OTT platforms. And we thought, let's have that excitement with audience. Let us take it to their homes.
Right.
And then we tweak the mix, we tweak the look to make it viewable for people even on phones, with headphones.
Oh, really?
We shot it on Atmos. We mixed it on Atmos. The sound mix. My sound designers have worked hard to come close to that experience, even if you have a reasonably good sound system. We tried our best to do that. So we graded it again for home viewing, because obviously laptops and phones and television screens have their own luminance, which you don't have it on screens. So we have to sort of play with the contrast levels a little bit more and make it much more sharper for them. And because people watch on all kinds of phones and they may not have the brightness on fully. So all these things keeping in mind, we tweaked it as much as possible. So we want to give them an intimate experience of the film, and we strongly felt that we should not kill this excitement by waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting when there is no definite date of reopening of theaters. And even if the government does it, I don't know if people will come on. I wouldn't go to a movie now if you ask me to, because I don't want to take my family anymore. So we thought we should just not stop the excitement. Let's keep the momentum going, and so let's take it to their homes. That's why we just decided finally.
Well, I'm thrilled because I agree with you. I don't know when I'm going to be comfortable going to a theater. And that was such a part of my life. I would go like 3 times a week, to the movie theater. And I don't know when I'm going to feel comfortable doing that. So I'm very appreciative of all of these films. Having new content to watch at home is just so wonderful. So I applaud you for partnering with Amazon Prime. Like you say, you're reaching a world audience instantly. Everyone
Yeah.
can be able to share in the excitement of this film. I like how Nani introduced how it was going to be at home. That was very fun. And
Yeah, yeah.
I'm really excited to see him in a negative kind of role. I mean, I haven't seen all of his films, but he is such a kind of I don't know, guy next door, the nice guy kind of image, and it's really going to be interesting for me to see him play something darker like this. His last film, Jersey, affected me so deeply. I
Yes,
didn't
yes.
realize he had that level of acting in him,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
I happened to see that film immediately after my father's funeral, and
Oh,
I did not
wait.
know what I was
What?
walking into. I
Yeah,
thought,
yeah,
okay, Nani has a new sports movie. I'll just escape. I'll just go to the movies and so picture me just sobbing my heart
yeah.
out in the movie theater
Yes.
because I held it together at the funeral and was strong for my mom and didn't cry. And then
Yeah.
in the darkness of the
You let
movie
go.
theater, I just let
Yeah.
it all out. And that's something that Indian films give me that
Hmm.
Hollywood doesn't necessarily always give me. Hollywood
Yeah.
films can be at a reserve, at a
Yeah.
distance,
Yeah.
or a sarcastic bent to things. And
Yeah.
I do enjoy the roller coaster of emotions that I go through watching
Exactly. Yeah.
Indian
Yeah.
films. But speaking of
Yeah.
Hollywood, you've talked about all different kinds of art cinema. Are there Hollywood directors that are a particular influence of you or that you admire very much? Or
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I learned everything about filmmaking from American cinema and European cinema. My, my absolute role model, if I want to be somebody like somebody, that would be Sidney Lumet. He's one of my
mm,
all-time favorite filmmakers, and John Ford, of course, and of the yesterday, of course, William Wyler. I think is the greatest. William Wyler could do. Why I like Wyler is Wyler could do anything. He could do he could do a Ben-Hur. He could do a Roman Holiday.
yeah.
He could do the Heiress. He could
Yeah.
do the best years of our lives. He could do Dotford. I mean, his range was incredible, and so was John Ford, and Lumet. I thought was absolutely. I mean, I'm totally moved by his aura. I mean, he has many of things that I do in my films. I learned from him how to address social issues while couching them in drama. How to make hard hitting, how to write hard, like films like Network, films like some of the films that he has done, like Dog Day Afternoon. They're really moving, and so he's my absolute idol. And among the contemporary filmmakers, I absolutely adore. There are many. I mean, David Fincher is one I
Mhm.
really like, and of course, Spike Jones is another really offbeat filmmaker I really
Oh
like.
yes, yes,
Absolutely
very
love
much.
his
Yeah.
work. And some of the other contemporary filmmakers, I like Michael Mann. There are many. I'm not able to. I mean, these guys I constantly watch, and I like Jim Jarmusch. I like John
Yep.
Cassavetes. All these great filmmakers Woody Allen, of course, is an all-time favorite of mine. So there are all these people making different kinds of films, genre films, and whose work and recent one among the recent ones is Alexander Payne. I think
Yes.
he's also very good. So yeah, American cinema. I constantly watch American cinema and European cinema, and in
So,
French it's Jean-Pierre Melville. Truffaut, you can see his picture right there.
uh,
He's one of my all-time idols. So yeah, you learn. I constant and Kurosawa is from the Japanese. Kurosawa and Nagisa Oshima. So it's
so
it's like,
did
but
you start watching these films before you went to film school, or was that really kind of
to
your
some
first
extent,
exposure? Yeah.
not as many as I watched after going to film school. When I went to film school, it was like a new world for me. I mean, I had a library at York with 25,000 films. So
Mm.
every day I was soaked. I would just go there and watch two, three, four films. It was film viewing was like any other routine for me. It's like a chore, I would just, if there is a gap between a class and a class, I would just go to watch a 1.5 hour film. I watched films like that. So I watched tons and tons and tons of films during my 3 year stay at York in Toronto, and then I used to go to New York, visit New York where my wife was doing a PhD, and Boston. So I used to travel and attend all these festivals and go to screenings and all that. It was the most learning experience for me, and American cinema laid the foundation for me.
Mm.
The classical American drama and how how to, and of course, Elia Kazan is another great filmmaker, on the waterfront and all those films. So I learned the grammar of filmmaking from American cinema. Then I kind of learned from, other filmmakers like the European cinema, the Japanese, the Korean, the Turkish, whatever. So it's the influence is huge. You can see actually in my films, if you see
Right.
someone
I
who are
also
framing
see
like you.
the importance that you give to writing and the script.
Yes.
And let's just say not every Indian film shows that.
Yes. Absolutely.
But I can see that you view that this is the foundation. And like you said, I love how so many of your supporting characters in your films feel fully fleshed out. Like you said, they're not just there to look adoringly at the leading man for a few minutes and, and go into a song or whatever.
Admire, yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So, this was just a delight. I had such a good time talking to you. I hope you enjoyed it as well. I'm so looking forward to V next week. So again, everyone, it's coming out on September 5th on Amazon Prime, and I'm trusting you that the subtitles are going to be good because
they're great. Rakes is there. What I'd like to tell your audience is that, I'm sure a lot of them are going to watch here also this video. So it streams midnight on 4th midnight, that is early 5th morning. So it's a weekend, it's a Friday weekend. So grab all your popcorns and grab all the sodas you want to grab, and just sit in front of in the screen. And it's because it's a midnight screening, you will not have distractions like your maidservant coming, the milkman disturbing you with the calling bell. Log in at 12 o'clock midnight, 12 a.m. and then enjoy the movie. That's what.
So are you working on something new, or are you still just kind of in the middle of finishing up all the post-production?
I have a couple of scripts already written and ready to be made, but the situation here, as far as shootings are filmmaking is concerned, is very unclear. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen when actors are ready to come to shoots and when we can actually mobilize a crew and how safe it is and stuff like that. So I'm going to take a break the whole of September probably, and then I'll start thinking about what's the best film to do in these situations, in these conditions. Then I'll decide. As of now, probably ideally I would want to do a genre that's diametrically opposite to this, probably a comedy or a romance. Yeah, comedy or a romance. Yeah.
Okay, I'll be ready.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, great.
All right. You can find me on Twitter at PardesiYT. Please do subscribe for more interviews, film reviews, and trailer reactions. Again, thank you so much.